Wow. Okay. Ballers, welcome to the beginner's guide to playing Pantheon. This champion is very hot at the moment in end of Season 10 and start of Season 11. Was abused as a support champ, very strong as a mid and top laner still, but with some recent changes to his kit, a little bit more damage bumps on some of his basic abilities, he's really now meant to crush solo lanes in mid and top. So we're going to be playing in mid here. You can still play him in a bunch of different positions, so let's talk about his kit and figure out how to play this demigod champ here. So passive, very basic, very easy. He's got a bar under his health and mana over here with red ticks that fill up. Once you get 5, anytime you use one of his basic abilities next, it's going to be empowered. Generally the empowerment just means more damage. Okay, very basic stuff. So first ability you're going to learn, and the one you're going to max, is his Comet Spear. It has 2 elements to it. If you just tap Q on your keyboard, he's going to stab directly in front of him with his spear. So we'll just tap it here. You can see it's just a stab. The range of the stab is actually pretty good, so you can use it to farm at, and get last hits of minions from quite a distance, especially if you're getting harassed from potential mages like this. So don't be afraid to experiment with how far you can actually hit minions or enemy champions with your Q. It is a stab, though the range of it is pretty good. It's a little bit longer than your auto attack range, so make sure you have fun experimenting with that. Again, anytime we attack or use an ability, you can see we get an extra tick, and then once we have all of them up, all 5, it's going to turn red to let you know, hey, your next ability is going to deal a bunch extra damage. Okay, so that's our Q. You can use it to last hit minions. You can use it to push waves because it does have an area of effect damage cone to it, essentially. And you can also use it to harass enemy champions and try and go for some all-ins. If instead of tapping the Q, you press and hold, you're going to see he charges it up and he'll throw it instead. It deals, some damage. It's not huge at the start, but where you're looking for that throw damage or even off the stab damage on champions is it critically strikes enemies that are below 20% health. Again, so usually with abilities as a beginner, there's ways to maximize the effectiveness the better you get at using them and the more familiar you are. With the Comet Spear, beginners are going to use it when it's kind of, not on 5 ticks to not deal the most damage, or they might use it early in a combo before the enemy champion's below 20% health, right? Which is fine. Again, you want to spam this ability. It doesn't cost that much mana or anything, but just know that it's really effective at 20% or less for the enemy champion, okay? Wow, minion block is amazing. Okay, so we've got poked down a little bit. We're kind of just letting her attack us while we throw Qs. That's fine. What we're going to cover next is kind of your starting item, which is your Corrupting Potion. You want to run this in unison with the rune setup of Biscuit Delivery and Time Warp Tonic. That's going to really let you stay healthy in lane and throw a bunch of spears with the mana sustain, but also against most mid-range champs that are going to be kind of ranged or mages. You're going to be able to heal up some of that sustained damage that you're going to take from them through autos or spells. Okay, so next ability we're going to learn here is our Shield Vault. Generally you want to learn your W second in lane. It's going to be a short jump and he's going to stun an enemy champion that he uses it on for 1 second. Okay, again, it has an empowered portion of it, so if you do have the 5 ticks under your mana bar, it's going to strike someone 3 times and deal some more damage. Okay, so let's try that on her now. You want to jump onto them, stun them, and then usually fire your Q out and start to walk away. We'll talk about a basic combo once we have all 3 abilities learned, but that was just showing the W's range, kind of how it works. So we'll pop another one of our corruption potions here to kind of fill back up and learn our Aegis Assault. So Pantheon braces his shield and he engages enemies in a chosen direction for 1.5 seconds, becoming immune to all non-tower damage. That means any damage fired at him from a direction, he will not take anything, okay? No damage. So it could be a spell, it could be auto attack, it could be anything, no damage in that chosen direction. So make sure, we'll just fire one here, where your mouse is pointing when you click your E, if you have quick cast enabled, that's the direction you're going to block damage, okay? So if I point it behind me, you're going to see he's going to turn around, the shield comes there, so any damage from that direction I'm not going to take. It also deals a little bit of damage over the duration, and at the end he kind of pops the shield, smashes it, deals some more damage. Okay, it's main use is to block damage. So in trades and in team fights, make sure you time that up to block the most burst damage. Again, beginner Pantheons will use this in poor situations or in the wrong direction, or just to block a couple autos instead of like a massive ult. With Annie's ultimate, when she turns level 6, if we time this E properly, we can block all of that burst damage from the Q and the ult landing on us. So really key to winning big trades. If you find like in lane you're not winning enough matchups or you're dying too much, you're probably using your E wrong. Okay, so now that we have all of our basic abilities, we're going to start to max out our Q. That's our bread and butter. We want to try and combo on this Annie. So our basic combo is W to stun them, Q, and then E and slowly walk out. The E prevents any damage, so we basically get a free trade. Okay, so we'll try that here. Okay, so if she walks up, W, Q, and then E, and just slowly start walking back. Okay, so you can see it's pretty free trade. Most champions, you're going to be able to chunk them out half their health probably, and then walk away. There's ways to optimize this combo, and again, you're going to have to play a few Pantheon games to get used to it, but W, Q, and E is your essential combo. The way you maximize that is you feather in auto attacks between each ability and try and cancel that animation with your other abilities. Again, that's a little bit more advanced. You don't have to worry about it right now. Just get used to the WQE combo. But there's other ways you can maximize even further by deciding when you want to jump in based on the amount of passive stacks that you have and which spell you want to empower and deal the most damage. Generally, if you can empower the Q, that's going to be your best damaging spell. Okay, so I would recommend, just to kind of build on that combo, if you can jump in at the 4 stack mark and W them, that's going to add your 5th, and then you can Q them for some big chunks of damage. Okay, that's kind of a good way if you want to maximize damage and look for kills. You want to try and time up your stacks, your passive stacks, so that your Q is the empowered ability. Okay, the other way you can do that is you can get to 3 stacks. This is the 3 stack combo here, so we'll get to 3 stacks, and then knowing that our W is going to give us our 4th stack, all we have to do is W to get stack 4, right? W get stack 4, auto to get stack 5, and then Q. Okay, so she wants to ult us here. We'll just try it. W, auto, Q, E, right? And then you can walk away. Alright, basic combo. There's little variance, as we said, that you can do to maximize that aspect of trading and damage in that combo, but that's what you're looking for. Okay, if they're low enough, you can try and fire some Qs again from range, see if you can damage them. Once they get below 20% health like she is now, they're going to deal some extra critical strike damage. So you can usually catch some people off guard and try and kill them with a throwing Q if they're below 20%. Before that, it's really just going to be a little bit of a poke, kind of inconsequential damage, but you can still try and spam it if you want, because the mana cost isn't too low, or sorry, isn't too high, and you don't have too much mana problems as long as you're running your corrupting potion start and you're kind of weaving in your auto attacks into some of those combos. Okay, so another way you're going to look to use your Q is to, again, cone damage, area of effect, push a lot of waves in very quick, and just get your back timings off appropriately. Alright, you're going to max your E second with Pantheon. It's just a better ability generally with champions in terms of basic abilities. The one that stuns or the one that crowd controls, you're going to max last because you really only need 1 point to realize its value. We're going to build lethality. Again, just looking at the shop when you're playing Pantheon, the suggested item here is Eclipse. Usually lethality goes very well with him in his assassin playstyle. And this one now has the added benefit in Season 11 of having some built-in sustain from the Vampiric Scepter, which is something that Pantheon was not used to having before. Okay, so we've talked about our trading combos basically a lot in lane. One thing we haven't covered off is our ultimate, our Grand Starfall. Now in lane, this is not going to do too much for you. You're really going to depend on your basic ability combo to all-in people and kill them, and usually it will be more than enough as long as, again, you're stacking up your passive properly and and you're landing your combos properly, which is your W, right? Right, W, auto attack, maybe you want to E to get your 5 stacks, and then Q like that. It'll be enough damage, right? You'll play around with the combos, you'll find out which ones you like to use on different champions, and you'll be able to start all-inning people in lane and basically run lanes. He's a massive lane bully. He's very good against AD assassins or short-range burst mages. Really good all-in potential pre-level 6. Now at level 6, this is basically a Twisted Fate ultimate. So it gives you can see here the blue circle on my mini-map just down here. When I hover over it, I can jump to that location and Grand Skyfall on these people and deal a little bit of damage, slow them if they're in this landing area. But essentially it's a global map kind of ultimate. It gets me to another place. So you want to use this to try and all-in champions at range. So let's say I'm going to ult here. So I'm going to get onto this guy, W, Q, and then I'll E the combo. Now again, the E doesn't stop turret shots anymore, so you have to be careful with the turret dive aspect of your ultimate. But the great thing is you can get to side lanes and essentially gank them very easily as a mid laner. So ideally that Renekton would have been kind of right around there, and we wouldn't have had to turret dive. We did there just to show how the ult works, but you want to use it in a way that when you get a commanding lead over your mid lane, and you want to try and bring that strength that you have to other lanes and get them snowballing your ult to just behind the enemy champions and stun them with your W, giving your team a chance to follow up and deal some more damage. In solo lanes, you could use it to ult back to the lane, kind of like a mini TP, or if this guy is really unaware, you could ult behind them. Usually that doesn't work. People will see the landing zone and dodge it. So here, right, Q or W, Q, E, and now because we're strong enough, we're going to keep following up. She's below 20%, so our Q critically strike. So really easy to all in without the ult in lane. Your ultimate is really meant to kind of be a map support, team support ultimate, and catch other enemy champions in lane off guard when you get a lead and just snowball other lanes. Okay, so try and make sure you play him like that. When you play him in the lane, try and use your Q early to kind of grab some last hits safely, or harass enemy melee champs if they're kind of behind minion lines, right? Wait for your 3 levels and your basic abilities to start jumping on them with your W, Q, and then E to essentially get free trades and not take any damage. And then after you've oppressed your laner kind of effectively in the early game, you're playing around your level 6 and having fun jumping all over the map. Now, the cooldown on this is pretty long. It's 180 seconds to start. It's a very long cooldown, even with just 1 point in your ultimate. So make sure you use it wisely on a lane that you know you want to snowball, or that you know you're going to get a kill. Okay, there's no worse feeling than using your ultimate and then the enemy champion sees that brief spear shot land where you're going to kind of come in on and just says, nah, I'm out. I'm gonna walk away from this, and then you just wasted your ultimate. Okay, so we're gonna auto attack her here because she's in range. She's running away. W, Q, and then E to follow it up. We're running Ignite, so we're just gonna ignite her again to polish off that kill. That's what you're going to do in lane. W, Q, E combos, push, get plates, and then wait for your ultimate to come off cooldown, and look for some ganks around top or bot lane. Pantheon is also really good if you're playing with a friend who plays jungle. He's very good at what's called gank assist. And gank assist is if someone comes to gank your lane, how do you ensure you both can get damage onto them? Usually champs you play that have stuns or crowd control, a way to slow down or stop the enemy champion altogether, is the best for landing kind of a gank assist, right? Because you can stun the enemy champion and then your friend can come in and deal a bunch of damage to a target that essentially can't move. So make sure you kind of, if you're playing with a friend or a jungler, you just give them a heads up, ping assist, and say, hey, listen, you know, I have my combo ready. Just click Alt and scroll down with your mouse like this, and it'll say, hey, come over here, we can kill this person. Okay, that's another really good way to snowball. Once you kill a laner, then you can start to roam around the jungle with your buddy and try and kill the enemy jungler. Okay, so just try and play Pantheon really aggressively here. You can see we talked about using the R to get back to lane, so we'll just try and R behind her here. So we'll see what she does. right? And then you can W, Q, and keep auto attacking, following up in the combo with E. Okay, so that's another way you can use your R just to get back to lane and maybe try and surprise your enemy champion if they're not looking. That time she was backing, so maybe she was already looking at items in the shop to buy. Who knows, right? Essentially, you want to snowball levels 1 to 6 in lane with kills before you even get to level 6, and then be ready to jump around the map with your level 6 and affect other lanes. Alright guys, that's your beginner guide to playing Pantheon. Have fun picking him up and experimenting with your basic ability combos and weaving in autos and empowering different spells and seeing what kind of damage you can pump out with this guy. I will catch you guys in the next one.